Gaming has always been about stories that end. Mario saves the princess, the credits roll, and you walk away satisfied. Link defeats Ganon, the kingdom is saved, and peace returns to Hyrule. These were complete experiences, finished tales that live forever on your shelf. Today's gaming landscape looks completely different. We live in a world where games never truly end, where your favorite shooter gets updated every few months with new content, new mechanics, and new ways to spend money. These are live service games, and they promise us worlds that evolve and grow alongside us. The promise sounds incredible. Imagine a game that grows with you, that changes and adapts based on how millions of players interact with it. A game that never becomes stale because there's always something new around the corner. A game that builds communities spanning years, even decades. Yet something feels broken about this promise. Players are burning out faster than ever. Games that once brought joy now feel like jobs. Communities are fracturing under the weight of constant change. The very thing that was supposed to make games better might be slowly killing them. When I first played Rainbow Six Siege in 2018, the game felt perfect in its complexity. 38 operators, each with clear roles and abilities that I could master over time. The learning curve was steep but fair. Every death taught me something. Every victory felt earned. 3 years later, I returned to find a completely different game. The operator count had doubled. New gadgets and abilities created interactions I couldn't predict. Maps had been reworked beyond recognition. The game I had spent hundreds of hours learning was gone, replaced by something that felt alien and overwhelming. This wasn't evolution. This was replacement. The game I had fallen in love with was dead, wearing the skin of something that shared its name. Live service games seduce us with the idea of permanence. Your progress will carry forward. Your investment will grow over time. The world you love will always be there, always expanding, always offering new adventures. This promise touches something deep in our human nature. We fear endings. We fear loss. When we love something, we want it to last forever. Game developers understood this fear and built business models around it. My experience with Siege reflects a deeper problem with live service design. These games don't grow organically. They grow like cancer, adding mass without purpose, complexity without meaning. Each update promises to make the game better, but often makes it less recognizable to the people who loved it most. Live service games trap players in a cycle of artificial scarcity and manufactured urgency. Battle passes expire, seasonal events disappear forever. Limited time cosmetics vanish if you don't act fast. The game trains you to fear missing out, to treat leisure time like a second job with deadlines and quotas. Consider Clash of Clans, a game that started simple and elegant. Build a base, train some troops, attack other players. The core loop was satisfying and complete, but profitability demanded more. More troops, more buildings, more upgrade levels, more complexity layered upon complexity. A returning player faces years of content they have missed, dozens of new troops with abilities they don't understand, building upgrades that take weeks to complete, strategic depth that has transformed into strategic overwhelm. The game hasn't just added content, it has added barriers to enjoyment. This content bloat serves the business model, not the player experience. Each new addition creates reasons to spend money, to skip waiting times, to catch up with players who never left. The game becomes less about having fun and more about staying competitive in an arms race you never agreed to join. New players face an even steeper mountain. They must learn not just the core game, but years of accumulated systems, mechanics, and meta-knowledge. Healthy game communities form around shared understanding. Players develop common language, shared strategies, and mutual respect for the game's systems. This shared foundation allows for meaningful communication and collaboration. Live service games shatter this foundation regularly. Each major update changes the rules, invalidates previous knowledge, and forces the community to rebuild its understanding from scratch. The community splits along temporal lines. Old players remember how things used to work and mourn the loss of familiar systems. New players learn the current version and can't understand the nostalgia for mechanics they never experienced. The two groups speak different languages about the same game. When your favorite strategy gets nerfed, your main character gets reworked, or your preferred game mode gets removed, the rational response is to find a new game. Live service games create their own obsolescence by constantly invalidating the time and effort players have invested. When a traditional game ends, it ends. You can revisit it years later and find it exactly as you remember. When a live service game ends, it disappears entirely. Server shutdowns erase thousands of hours of progress, hundreds of dollars in purchases, and years of memories. Games like Marvel Heroes, Wild Star, and countless titles vanish as if they never existed. Multiverses provides a particularly painful example of this erasure. The game launched with massive fanfare, featuring beloved characters from Warner Brothers properties fighting in a platform fighter that felt fresh and exciting. Players spent money on character unlocks, cosmetics, and battle passes. Communities formed around favorite characters and strategies. Then, abruptly, the servers went dark for improvements that turned into permanent closure. Everything players had invested, time, money, emotional attachment, simply disappeared. The game became unplayable overnight, leaving behind only memories and screenshots of what once was. This impermanence extends beyond server shutdowns. Game updates can remove features, maps, or modes that players loved. The game you played yesterday might be gone today, replaced by something similar but fundamentally different. The path away from this dystopia doesn't require abandoning multiplayer games or online communities. It requires recognizing that the best games throughout history have been complete, coherent experiences that respected both their players' time and their intelligence. Games like Counter-Strike, which has remained fundamentally unchanged for decades while maintaining a thriving competitive scene, prove that stability can coexist with longevity. Games like Minecraft, which provides tools for endless creativity without demanding constant engagement, show that player agency can drive retention better than psychological manipulation. The most memorable gaming experiences come from games that trust their players to find their own meaning, create their own goals, and build their own communities. These games provide frameworks for play rather than schedules for consumption. We need games that grow through player creativity rather than developer content drops. Games that deepen through mastery rather than broaden through complexity. Imagine a gaming future where games are released complete and remain stable for years, where mastery matters more than adaptation, where communities form around shared love rather than shared frustration, where games end when their stories are told rather than when their servers become unprofitable. The technology exists to create persistent worlds that don't require constant corporate oversight. Peer-to-peer networking can preserve games long after their creators lose interest. Community servers can maintain beloved experiences indefinitely.